minutes from the last meeting?
Nope.
No?
No.
Any delegations?
No.
Any correspondence?
Yes, there's correspondence.
Okay.
I just
Catherine?
wanted to note, and Hyacinth, I think you brought up one particular comment, and I apologize for not having that, but we've had phenomenal traffic on our Facebook page, which I think, Tom, does that count as correspondence? It's messages to us.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I guess if it's going to be something that you want to like highlight, then yeah, we could put that here.
So there's one lady, Karen Laybourne from BC. I live in Vancouver, but my mother was born and raised in Brighton. I'm aware of most all of the videos you have done, and it's so interesting and exciting to watch. Keep them coming. It's so great, and thanks for all your hard work. The last part was really nice, but the nice thing is that somebody on, the left coast of Canada is watching this. And we had a lot of comments on Dan Thompson's videos. He's definitely the highlight. We had one from Ron Murray who says, some great memories, Dan. Can't remember why I was not there the day of the marching band photo. I will always have a connection to Presqu'île, as my grandfather was the last lighthouse keeper at the point. So all kinds of input and engagement with that, including Marjorie Morgan's video and the picture of her meeting Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, and comments on that and people remembering that. So I guess the point is that we're not only engaging people, we're bringing all these memories to light, and it's relevant. Every picture makes somebody's memory relevant. So those are my correspondences. I can send them, Tom, for the report, or we can just have it as a brief thing there. What would you like?
No, what we can do is just have a motion. Someone wants to make a motion to accept the correspondence. That's
I'll
it.
move that.
Mary?
Yes.
Okay. Mary, did you second it? I'm sorry.
I thought I moved it, but whichever.
Moved it?
I'll
And the
second it.
seconder?
I'll
Thanks.
second it.
Okay. The Brian Todd Memorial Community Fund grant application, as you all know, it was submitted on, I believe it was April the 15th. For an applicant, the application was for $4,469.37. And it was for, as outlined in the report you received, it was for technical equipment for the committee. So there was a list of the equipment. So that was submitted. It wasn't until later that it was brought to my attention, and I did look through the committee guidelines, and there was nowhere that it was evident to me that this was supposed to be submitted through the council. And so I apologize for that. I just had no idea. And but can you clarify that a little bit, Tom? Like, or how would we do that? We would ask council's permission to submit an application for funding?
I don't think you need to do that. It's funding that would just have to discussed with the finance director so that the budget all makes sense, afterwards.
Right.
But the from the information on the website that I remember, it specifically said that the organization under the umbrella of the municipality can apply.
Right. Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to be sure we were doing the right thing. Now, do I have to move that you ratify this, or how does one ratify something in a meeting like this?
I think I had put that little motion. It's just that the committee ratify the decision to submit the grant application in advance of the April 15th deadline. So that kind of just basically
Okay.
saying that, you know, you had to meet that deadline. There was no way to have a meeting prior.
Right. And that's a
Um,
motion.
Yeah,
Okay, would somebody like to move that?
I'll move that.
Ralph? Hyacinth seconded?
Yep.
All in favor?
Yes,
All opposed? Okay. I don't know, Tom, if you know, or Mary, and I didn't check on the website. Is there a date when they announce the funding that they have given out?
I didn't see a date for announcements. It kind of, as far as I remember, it was more of like an ongoing thing. Like once as they review them, they sort of give it out until it's gone kind of thing. That was my impression, but
All right.
I might be wrong.
Okay.
Well, I
All right.
think when, before COVID, they had a celebration sort of event.
Yeah.
But they can't do that right now.
Yeah. Okay, private sponsorship for calendar. I was approached by a member of the community who said that he and a group would like to sponsor the calendar and wanted, with that, would like the acknowledgement that they were the sponsors of the calendar for the year. I didn't really talk finances with him. I told him what the ballpark was for the calendar, but I would not give him anything definite. But I did want to discuss that here with you and bring it to council's attention as well. So to me, it sounds like a good offer. Are there any council considerations, Mary, that we should be aware of?
Just remind me, we have never done this before. We've never had any organization sponsor it, right?
Catherine and Ralph, I would,
No.
no.
And there's no advertising on the calendars?
we've never had
I
anybody
believe,
other than the municipality sponsor it, correct?
Right.
So it's been in our budget, which is a municipal budget for the last couple of years, or our budget was provided by the municipality. So no, we've never had anybody sponsor it.
My only concern is, are we going to open it up so that we have advertising through the calendar? Because once you set the precedent, then other organizations may want to do it next year.
well, I think that would be okay. I think that we would have to decide we're not selling interests like pieces of the calendar that, I mean, perhaps we can say, we don't even have to say it, because if we go ahead with this, then we're showing that we will accept this type of sponsorship. Nobody wants to manage multiple sponsorships. But
No.
if somebody's willing to pay for the whole thing and they want to sponsor it, I think that's okay. Then if somebody next year approaches us and say, we would like to sponsor it, we can say, okay, fine, that this is the amount that you have to pay.
I
We're
think,
not advertising in it. I believe, Ralph, aren't we putting in the names of the vendors? Are they not in the calendar? Do I have my calendar right?
No, they're not.
No, they're not. We talked about doing it, but we never
Oh,
did it.
okay, all right. Any comment on this? Anybody against offering it, Tom?
I'm not against it. My hand's just up to to speak. I just I'm thinking the way it may have to work would be it would have to be probably considered as a donation. So they would get like a receipt as a donation to a charitable organization. This
Okay.
is just me thinking off the top of my head from like previous experience with donations and things like that. I think that there would be a route to do it that way.
So how quickly could we establish what council would be comfortable with? I mean, it's been a couple of weeks. I told that person that we would have to have this meeting. So how do I get it established about what the correct wording or process is to get this, move this forward?
I'll send a message to the Director of Finance after the meeting today, just with what was discussed, and then my thought about the possibility of maybe it being in the form of a donation.
A
And then
donation to, excuse me for interrupting, a donation to the Digital Archives Committee or to council?
to the committee we accepted on behalf of the municipality as a charitable organization.
Okay. Okay.
Again, this may not be the exact process, but it just seems to me that I don't think we'd be allowed to really give anything in return. You know what I mean? Like so if the money comes to the committee, it's like it's a donation, and then we can acknowledge that donation in support of the creation of the calendar in the calendar. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think that's the only way we would be able to take the money from a group.
But the sponsor's name would be in the calendar. It would be clear who the sponsor was.
I have a question.
Ralph?
In the past, we've done an initial run of 500 of these calendars for, I think it was $2,000. But we've also had a subsequent run because the municipality decided they wanted to have copies. Now this calendar that we produced will have a credit saying that this organization has sponsored this calendar. But would we simply modify that calendar if the municipality decides to do a second run?
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea.
That's an easy thing to do. I wondered if any of that got in the way of that ever happening again.
So I have a question. If we had a private sponsor for the calendar, do we lose that amount of money from the town out of our budget?
I believe so, yeah, because it has to balance, right? So then if there's money coming in, then it has to equal money coming out.
So let's say next year the sponsor doesn't want to sponsor it. Do we get the money back from the town?
So I think the question is, do we lose the money that we intended to spend on the calendar in this budget?
Well, in a sense,
That
you
to
don't
me
have
doesn't
extra money.
seem, yeah, that's what I was thinking. If we lose it in this year, which makes sense to me, that if we're getting a donation, that we don't have to have that in our budget. But it means that next year, we will still put in our budget the amount for the calendar. Right?
Yeah, exactly. The
So
budget
that
will
we're not,
basically remain
next
the
year, we're
same.
not going to be in a deficit.
So what's our incentive to get sponsors
Yeah.
if we lose the money we already intended to spend?
Less
But we won't
taxpayer
lose
money.
the money.
Mm.
Am I correct in that? We're not going to lose any money. The question to me is there an incentive to have a sponsor, or because we're getting money from the municipality, should we just leave it alone?
That's me, I speak.
Yeah. Mary?
I'm not comfortable with this because of the reason with the budget and all, because by next year, we might be asked as a committee to go out and find a new sponsor, and we don't want to get into that, do we?
True. No, we do not.
That's true.
Beth, can I speak?
Yes, of course.
First of all, I think it's really nice that a private sponsor has come forward, and we really need to acknowledge that and
Mhm.
and be thankful that we have a product that a private sponsor wants to put their name on. I think that's amazing, and it speaks well of what we've done. Going to what Mary said, they came to us out of the blue, and I think it's important to acknowledge that we have never, ever, ever wanted to be a fundraising committee. There are opportunities we avail ourselves of, like the Brian Todd Memorial Community Fund. But I think we need to make it clear that this person, this private sponsor came to us and really make, really reinstall in the municipality's mind, we don't want to be fundraisers. We don't have time to do the work of our mandate. Although we enjoy every second of trying to do that, but we don't want this to be the start of us being expected to go out and look for funds for any project, any yearly project. So that I'm a little bit afraid of that happening. That, as Mary said, every year.
I understand. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. However, it seems to me, if we're being offered $2,000, why I understand that we don't want to be labeled as we have to find a sponsor every year, but that money is only going to benefit the council. I mean, it's not just for for our committee, it's a wash, right? Because we've got the money in there. So, but is it a good idea to be declining funds that are given in good faith?
I like the
that's
idea of
question.
accepting it with those caveats.
What are the caveats?
That recognizing that this private sponsor came to us, we did not seek them out.
Yep.
And there's no guarantee that this will happen again next year. Other than that, I would like to say to the sponsor, thank you very much for recognizing the value of what we do. Comments?
More comments?
My
Yes, no,
concern
nobody
is
seems to
mostly
feel
that-
comfortable with this.
No, I'm just thinking that if, let's say the sponsor doesn't want to sponsor us next year, and if town council changes, I don't know when the election is, they might say, well, you didn't need the money last year, we're not giving it to you this year. I don't want to
Well,
put
that's just
us, put
stupid.
ourselves unwittingly into a deficit position. I don't know whether that would happen or whether that's just me thinking worst case scenario.
May I speak?
Mary?
again?
Yep.
Yeah, my biggest problem, and I just want to remind everybody, next year is an election year, and the budget won't be done until new council. It could be a totally new council that says digital archive, what's that? And so then this committee has to then get themselves known to new people. I just think it could get quite messy, a calendar that once you start having sponsors, everybody likes to get as cheap advertising as they can. What better way could you get than something like that? And
I don't think that's the intent of this particular group, but I take what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yes. Yeah. So I'm still alarmed about.
I think Mary froze.
Yeah. Mary, come back. Come back. Tom, where's that committee on the new, internet service we have?
There you are,
Mary,
Mary.
we didn't hear the last part of your statement. Mary? No.
Hear me?
Yeah,
Now, yes. Can't hear.
Beth, it's Catherine.
Yeah.
I'm with you on the part where I don't want to turn down a well-recognized benefactor whose purpose is not advertising, but philanthropy. Maybe it's something that Tom could talk to. I don't know, who do you talk to? The director of finance? See what the angles are on this, what the repercussions are. I just don't, I'm really grateful that somebody would like to do that.
I'd like to do
But I see the pitfalls, so I don't, let's see if Linda Whitfield has or whomever has a smooth road ahead for us with that.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Now, that does mean that it's another month away from being able to say yes to these people.
Yes. Any recommendations, Tom? I mean, I think unless we get more clarity on this, I think we're just going to have to say no for the moment.
Would they be
I
okay
mean,
with a month's
I don't
delay?
hear. Pardon?
Would they be okay?
Pardon me, Catherine?
Would the private sponsor be okay with a 1 month delay?
I have no idea. But I will ask. I will ask.
Bear in mind that this, if we spend this money, wherever it comes from, we don't usually do it till the fall.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Okay, so I can go back to them, say there's been a delay, that we need to clarify what the impact is on our status, and that if they're okay with that, we will let them know. Okay? Because I agree, we don't need to rush into it if it has larger implications. And perhaps at another time, Tom, I'd like to understand how, if people want to do things or give things to the Brighton Digital Archives, how we can do that within the framework of council. I don't really understand that process. If somebody wants
Yeah,
to
I think it's
donate
got to
money
be
or
that
wants to do
donation.
something.
It's got to be in that
Pardon?
donation type principle.
So couldn't this be a donation?
It's yeah, like
This
yeah,
is
I
what
think
it
that's
is.
the only way it would work. Yeah, it's the only way that it would work. And then it's just the matter of the budget that you guys, the concerns seem to be that, you know, what if we don't get it next year kind of thing. I don't think that would be the case,
Right.
honestly, because
I don't
the
know.
budget is set based on your sort of overall projects. If money comes in to support one of those projects, it just means that like the budget is still balanced in the exact same way. So next year,
Right,
I would think it would be the same, but
right. Okay.
but again, I think clarification is the good way to go for this. And if they're okay waiting till after next meeting, there should be you guys can make a decision.
Okay. So I will then contact them, clarify with them that we need some further direction from the council and that it will be another month. Correct?
That works for
Yep.
me.
Okay, okay.
Mm.
All right, Accessibility Advisory Committee video project. Ralph.
I've met with the committee and we're now sort of playing a waiting game to see what happens with the status of COVID in this province. Although I have suggested that we start working right away on the backup plan, which would be visuals and audio recordings of scripts that are being prepared now. So that we'll just take those audio. I'll go out in the field, set up outside someplace where distancing is not an issue, and have one person read all the scripts that they have in one go, and then we just attach that to whatever visuals the committee can come up with, and then we'll have something that can be aired the week of the 31st of May, a 2-minute show for each day for 5 days. That's where I'm at with that. Although right now, I've also said that if May 20th becomes the day when they lift the stay-at-home order, that we could turn this whole project around within 1 week if we needed to. It's just that we can't be waiting on an approvals process. We need to be able to approve them as soon as the video is done. And I've left it with them to think about that.
I think you've done a great job, Ralph. I mean, I know that they were ready to sort of let it go. And Ralph came back with a solution to do it so that it was possible given the restrictions that you're working under. So I think that was great work.
Thank you.
Any questions? A municipal website presence. Catherine, do you want to talk about this? I don't mind, but
I don't mind. Do you want me to?
okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so back when we first got together at the Hilton Hall, there were a bunch of us, and a lot of ideas came out of that. One of them was the Friends of Hilton Hall, which we sort of temporarily became an offshoot of for about an hour, and then Fletch and Dorothy and Ralph and I somehow became the Brighton Digital Archives. I'm really not sure how that happened. The municipality was kind enough to put a link to the Friends of Hilton Hall on the website under, I think, History and Heritage. And it said that one of the things that the Friends of Hilton Hall would be doing was setting up some kind of a digital archive. And that was in 2015, I think. And nothing has been changed on that yet. So and that's on us because we just failed to let the municipality know that we have evolved like this and ask for a presence on the municipal website. So we have a draft of our verbiage that we'd like to ask Ben Hagerman. Is that the right person, Tom? Does he do the website? To consider putting up with a link to our webpage. And I don't know if you link to social media channels or not, but anyway, we have a draft of that. So how would we go about that, Tom? We think it's a good presence, a good representation.
Sorry, so you have a letter, did you say, or
It's so right now it just says that the Friends of Hilton Hall are considering a digital archives. We would like to have the Brighton Digital Archives have its own heading, just like Proctor House or whatever else does on the Brighton.ca page.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that that's fine. It probably would be good to send an email maybe from the chair, CCing me to Ben. I'll give him a heads up about it.
Yeah.
And then that just he's the manager of communications as well, so that just brings all the right people into the know, and that makes perfect sense to me. Like, there is no Friends of Hilton Hall, right?
COVID has not been kind to them.
Tom, I have another question regarding that. As I look through the strategic plan for Brighton, and there's very little in it about heritage and any kind of historical activity for the town. And I guess just personally, I feel that is an important part of the community because it draws people in. It's we're certainly not at that level, but it's like historical tourism. And, there's lots here for people to look at. Is there any, do you know, or Mary, do you know of any plans to revamp the website to make that a bigger part of it? Or is there any discussion about revamping the website?
I can answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
As far as with heritage, actually, it's a similar discussion in the Heritage Advisory Committee. They're looking to kind of beef up that section of the website, adding a map. There's also another group sort of involved in this because I think the Chamber of Commerce received a grant to develop a heritage map. So that, in partnership with the Heritage Advisory Committee, and then as well as you guys, I think there's a lot of content that could be added and just revised as well on the heritage page.
Right. Mary?
Yeah, and I think we also should look into having Soho, if you don't know it, that Save Our Heritage organization that mostly works out of the Proctor House, but they have all kinds of history too that we need to look at.
Yes,
So,
I think that's an excellent idea.
So we really need to bring all our history heritage together, I think, in one place, Tom.
I think it would be a great idea. You know, there's lots of
Yes,
content to
definitely.
put on the website. I mean, Hyacinth and Joe are working on, you know, historical houses in Brighton. Tons of content from, I'm sure, the Soho and the Heritage Committee as well. So
Yes,
how does
mhm.
that happen? How does this, the website get revised? What's the process?
Well, I think it's a good start to get you guys featured on there in some way. The other parts are already in the works. I mean, you guys could make a recommendation and be very specific if you want to actually name Soho, name all those things that you would like to see added to that heritage page on the website. That would then go to council, and then it would be a directive right from council. That's
Okay.
one way to do it. I mean, yeah, like it's easily done. All of
Yeah.
this is fairly easily done. Once it's like, you know, everyone's says, yeah, let's
Right.
do it. It's
Yeah.
that's not going to take a lot of time or anything like that.
But excuse
Who
me
is-
again, Beth, but it should be, am I muted again?
No, you're good.
You can hear me now? Okay.
Yep.
It's a good thing to put it in our minutes. Then it frees me to be able to speak about how important that is to this group.
Okay.
Laura Vink, the deputy mayor, is with Heritage. I don't even know at this point who's on Soho, but there is someone from the council on Soho too. So everybody could speak about why they feel it's important. So it's just that extra nudge to get it going. So I think if we have a motion, I think would be the best way of going, because we want it
motion.
there. So what happens most of the time, you get the minutes of a whole bunch of meetings, and unless something that you represent, you read it over, but you don't necessarily pick up on anything, and so they receive it, that's it, you never hear about it again. So if there's something that the committees that I represent based, and I can't speak for others that do it too, then I can
Okay.
address it, and we won't just
Okay.
receive it, we get direction from council to go ahead.
So what's the motion? You want a motion for these
I
minutes?
wouldn't mind putting a motion.
Okay.
Beth, can I just
I
have a
wouldn't
half
mind
second
putting
here?
a motion.
Yeah, wait, Mary,
Oh, sorry.
you're cutting in and out a little
Yes.
bit, but Catherine had something she wanted to add before you make the motion.
So under
Catherine?
history and heritage, or heritage and history on the website, there is a link to Brighton's Register of Historic Property, or Brighton's Register of Properties, and that lists the heritage properties which are either designated or listed. So that's the Heritage Advisory Committee covered. There's Proctor Park, there's the Brighton Barn Theatre, which is the historic Simpson Barn, and there's Proctor House Museum, which is Soho. So they're already nicely covered on that. And there's as well, there's the Hilton Hall Heritage Center. They're nicely covered in that. We're kind of the only ones not spotlighted. And again, that's because we just didn't bring it to anybody's attention. So they've done their work there. I think it'd be really neat when this is,
Okay.
when we can get together, bring these groups together and let we find out what they're doing, they find out what we're doing, sit in a room and chat about it. But there is an okay,
I think,
decent
yeah.
presence on the website for the
So
others.
you're suggesting that we have an initial correction with a paragraph or two about the Brighton Digital Archives. And then the next step would be a bigger look at how to improve the heritage presence, meaning all of these groups of Brighton on the website. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
link us all
suggesting,
together.
Catherine?
Link us
Yeah,
all
But
together.
first of all,
Yeah.
But first of all, let's just, if we can have Ben approve just putting something up about the Brighton Digital Archives, that would be a good first step. Do you agree?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Mary?
So we can move that as a motion even. So
I put together a little motion if you want to, for consideration,
okay,
or if you want to add or subtract, that the committee recommend to council to direct staff to enhance and consolidate the history and heritage pages on the municipal website.
That's the
Yes.
second step, right?
but
Yeah,
we
I
need
think
the
the first one is
I
give
don't
us a
think we
presence
need,
at all.
yeah, I don't think we need a motion for that, like that paragraph, like you're saying. Honestly,
We'll
that
just
will
do
just,
it.
you send that to Ben, he will literally add it. Like it will be,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
it's just, I think it
That
would
would
be
be good.
good coming from the committee to request it. It's like a just a
Yeah.
nice gesture, basically, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and he'll put it up. There won't be an issue at all.
Okay.
But to bring all the other pieces in, like you're saying, I think Mary's absolutely right that it would be good to have, you know, like that council member and that council member kind of speak to, like, yeah, it would be great to see this or that kind of thing. And it kind of
I
brings that
agree.
whole conversation to light.
Is that okay, Mary and Catherine? You agree with that?
Certainly.
Catherine?
Yeah, and
Have
I
we
like
lost
Mary's
her?
idea too, that the council reps can speak to it. And just to be clear, we're
Yeah.
not saying to amalgamate the groups as one entity. We're
No.
saying to get the groups talking to each other.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
not that we don't talk now, just to have a
Yeah.
formal discussion between all of us.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, would somebody like to make that motion, Mary? Was that be,
I think what Tom said is good. Do you want to reread it, Tom?
Sure. It's the committee recommend to council to direct staff to enhance and consolidate the history and heritage pages on the municipal website.
Yeah, that covers it for me, so I'll move that.
seconder? Joe? You want
I'll
to second
second
it?
Yep.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Tom. That was great. Motion passed. Okay, draft strategic plan and memorandum of understanding. Just a brief update I sent to everybody on the committee, maybe not you, Tom, everybody on the committee, my draft strategic plan for storage. I mean, that was my request that the committee made of me from day one. And so we have decided on a very simple approach, which was partially in place anyways, and that is that Vita is going to, we are going to discuss with them increasing our gigabyte storage with them so that we can put up our images on that site, and they're all in correct metadata format. So it's a way to preserve them, and it's a way to make them accessible to anybody, anywhere. And then we use that as our database or as our website. Ralph and Catherine, jump in anytime in my explanation. So then the other part, sorry, Ralph.
That is going to provide us a way to organize our metadata in a way that we can find things within our own collection. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's going to take a while, and we do have to sit down and work out a strategy for doing this. It's not going to be quick. It's going to take a while.
Yeah. But once it's done, what we'll have internationally accepted, it will be an internationally accepted metadata format for heritage people. I can't quite think of the right words. But so, you know, what we're doing is we're not just making up our own filing system. We're actually elevating the BDA and Brighton to a very international standard. So I think that's good. It is a lot of work, and that's another thing we have to address. So the other part of the storage is, how do we store things so that if Ralph's house burns down, that the stuff on his hard drives isn't lost forever? So Ralph and I met with Heather Ratz and Brian, was it Brian?
Brian
I can't remember
Heenan?
his name.
Yes.
Brian Heaton, the techie guy for the library, and we outlined the fact that we were looking for a place to store this material. He understood immediately what we wanted. He suggested exactly what we needed, and he said they would be happy to store it. It would be no cost to either side to store it. And so we would like to go ahead with that. And we've sort of agreed in principle. I'm not sure. Is this something that the council has to approve? Ralph, do you want to?
I just want to clarify
Ralph?
something you said. What it is that we're storing with them is our a hard drive, a mirrored network attached storage device. And in fact, Brian recommended that we upgrade that system because it's not as large as it ought to be.
And so we've agreed to do that. We have actually asked in the Brian Todd Memorial Fund application for funding to buy those drives. The issue for me is that Heather Ratz asked for a memorandum of understanding between the BDA and the library, and I don't think that the BDA can do that. Am I correct in that? Would that be between the council and the library?
Well, I guess they're considered municipal assets. So I think it would probably be, again, the director of finance, and would probably be able to sign something with the library.
And should I notify Linda Whitfield? Or is that for you or Mary to do?
Maybe I think it'd be fine if you sent an email sort of outlining what this idea is, maybe even CC Heather. And then that way, if, because the only thing I don't know, I mean, financially, Linda Whitfield would be the right person, but based on the assets, but as far as signing it, that may be the CAO. So she'll also know the right move to make on that end.
Yeah. There's no money changing hands. It's simply an
No,
agreement.
but just,
and,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think that we
Yes.
might want to have motions for both of those items as well.
What two items?
The Vita storage and the memorandum of understanding.
Okay.
All
right.
With the Vita, is that like a budget item?
Our subscription to Vita is a budget item.
Yes.
Is that going to change?
It will if we
Yes.
need more space.
Okay, so
Yes.
we don't know the amount or anything right now.
It's not going to affect it won't affect this year's budget.
No.
Okay.
The reality is that we have signed on for 10 gigabytes of space, but we're only using about 7 gigabytes of space. So, we're trying to set in place a protocol to do this stuff on a regular basis. My neighbor's dog has just come for a visit. You could hear him downstairs. So you would like a motion?
Yeah, I'm just typing something up here.
Oh, okay, perfect. I'm still calling this a draft strategic plan, though. Because I don't think we've ever voted on the strategic plan, correct? Ralph?
No,
We've just discussed it
No.
among ourselves and I have a draft, but we haven't voted on that. So do we have to vote on that first? Sorry, Tom, all these rules are, I'm learning to navigate them.
The strategic plan, we're still working our way through. So I don't know if, unless you just want something in writing that says that that makes it go into the minutes of the meeting.
We could say that, I think that. I guess what I'm asking is, can we just say there's a motion for, well, why don't you read me the motion? You're better at that than I am.
I don't, yeah, to your first question, I don't think we need anything for the draft strategic
Right.
plan. Once you guys are sort of happy with a document, if you want to present a document to council, that's your strategic plan, then you would approve it and recommend it be adopted by council, kind of thing, that sort of
Okay.
idea. But
All right.
for this particular item, I had in mind something like that the committee approve the Vita storage solution and the memorandum of understanding with the library. Like, simple as that, I think.
Should the memorandum of understanding with the library refer to the fact that it is, what would you call it, Ralph? Backup storage? It's another
That's-
level of storage? Or does that need to be part of it? Will that just confuse people?
It's all it is housing. They're housing a unit for us.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
And the agreement just says how long we're expecting them to house it for us.
Right.
And
Yes,
what the,
okay.
and what the equipment is.
Yeah.
Because I
Is
don't,
that helpful, Tom?
Yeah.
and don't forget that the municipality had offered us storage of that unit and then said they couldn't handle it. So we've gone back to the library for that reason.
Yeah, basically
Okay.
I'm just thinking that it would be good to have it on record that this was a decision that made by the committee. That's really,
Okay.
just to say, this is what we decided to go ahead with the Vita storage and the memorandum of understanding with the library.
Okay, that sounds good. Do you want to read it again?
Yeah, I'm not completely solid on my wording yet, but something of that the committee approved the Vita storage solution and the backup the backup agreement with the library.
And that a backup agreement be made with the library
There you
for the storage of our network attached storage unit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, let Catherine second it this time. Share like.
That's right.
All in favor? Any opposed? All in favor, passed. Okay. Brighton, I remember update. Joe and Hyacinth?
Okay, we still have one video left to edit. And because of the stay-at-home order, we can't move ahead with any of the new videos. But beginning to mid-May, we're going to start talking to the people again, making sure they're still interested, so that we are, basically hit the ground running when this is over. And that's about it for that one.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Beth, can I comment for a sec?
Yes.
The Danny Thompson video just smoked our Facebook, smoked our social media. Maybe it's because he's been around for so long, because he's such a charismatic figure, although they all are, but or maybe it's because we're staying at home looking for something really interesting to watch. But the video crew nailed every single part of that. You checked every box. So congratulations. It really lit
Yeah.
up social media.
I
Was
think
good.
I think the big difference was this time was Facebook, because we
Mhm.
haven't regularly been posting to Facebook, and it's in short-term viewing, that's the way to go. And maybe we should consider taking all of our videos and at some point um, streaming each one individually up and watching the numbers come in.
Mhm.
It certainly was well done. So thank you both for that. It really was. And, you know, he has his own following as a musician, so I hope that helped a little bit. But I like the idea of posting more on our Facebook page. I think that would be a great idea. So do you have a list now of people that you want to approach?
Yes, and I've talked to them around the middle of December, and the plan was that we would speak again after Christmas, and of course the whole COVID thing. And these people are all fairly elderly, so I want to just
Right.
not take any chances.
Yeah,
And
that's
they seem,
excellent.
for the most part, they seem happy about doing it.
Right.
So
Um,
at best, right now, what we're looking at is spring and summer and fall shooting out of
Yeah.
doors.
Yep.
We're used to shooting indoors, but Canada Day sort of put us outside. And so I think we're used to that now too.
Mhm.
But it'll,
Well, unless we can get something like we used the barn, we used a covered area. Like if we can get places like
Yeah.
that, that would help too.
yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think people really do enjoy them. And, you know, I think what you said, Ralph, putting them on Facebook, I think it reaches more people. So that's excellent.
Mhm.
Good, thank you. Video for council presentations and social media. Catherine, do you want to talk about that?
Social media, is that my social media reports or is that our social media
No.
strategy?
I think what we were with this point, we were talking about doing a presentation for council.
Okay, I'm
One
with
with
you.
the formal way, is that a delegation to council? To just review what we've been doing and to sort of report in, because I think we have some very good statistics to show.
We've talked about this a number of times, and it's a really great idea. It's just we're still held back by COVID, even to get together and discuss it.
Yeah, that's true. Do you want
Mary,
to
you
put this off?
said some time ago about doing a presentation to council and also to councils within the county of Northumberland. So it would address that as well. And a
Yeah.
couple of reasons for that is, and in that I would throw in the city of Quinte West for this reason. They have their own digital archive. Some of them do. Coburg does, Crammy does, and Quinte West does. Within their archives, and they're all using the same Vita program or platform, they have lots of Brighton images. So it could be a sharing thing, but it's also what we're doing. People migrate. Somebody born in Brighton might live in Coburg now. Maybe they have collections that we want to do. So it's more than just the Brighton Council, although certainly that's the priority. But it just gives us a nice little video to say, here's who we are, here's what we do, here's how you can help, or here's where you can watch. But yeah, like Ralph said, kind of stuck.
Yeah.
So love the idea, love the input and Mary's idea, but stuck. So it's in the plans when we can do it.
Okay.
And we certainly have a lot of background information and resources to do it with, but we need to get together to be able to bring it all together. Does that make sense, Beth?
That makes sense to me. Mary, any comment on that? Are the council clamoring to know what we're up to?
I maybe not use the word clamoring, but I still think that it would be good to have a delegation come to council. And I like Catherine's idea. I don't know if you're aware that the mayor of Quinte West actually grew up in Brighton. And
No.
when you talk about migration, I can think of different ones that live in Coburg now that lived for years in Brighton. So there's an interest even beyond the county of the 7 municipalities. So I was thinking earlier when we were talking about strategic planning, or Beth, mostly you had brought that up. Should we have a meeting where we just brainstorm for and maybe do nothing else but do a strategic plan and get it firm? And then that way we can move forward even with the how we're going to approach doing the delegation to council.
I like the idea of a strategic plan, and I think that we've got the components of one, you know, I mean, we're all doing planning, like Catherine or Joe and Hyacinth are planning in their area, and I hope I'm almost done planning for the storage. So we're all doing that. So it would be great to put together a new strategic plan, you know, something, and I think we can think further out with it, or tackle bigger projects with it. So, yeah, I think that's great. So in a reflection of that, we wanted to show, at least you and Tom, a little bit of the activity that we've been doing. And so Catherine, do you want to lead on with that?
I would be honored with this, Beth. When I started looking at the Facebook insights, it was, and again, the Danny Thompson video, the numbers as they just started racking up. So I went back to some other videos and different posts. We have a lot of followers, and so I sent you all a report. We have passed 1,000 likes on Facebook, which I think is pretty nice. In the last 28 days, we had 834 unique users engaging with us. So that's not 500 users doing a bunch of stuff. 834 unique users. We had 5,914 interactions. We had 1,363 video views outside the first play. So people were coming back and watching more. And we had 967 people who watched the videos for at least 30 seconds, which is big because that's, you know, there's the 3-second time limit on that. The really, really good one, I mean, those are all good, but the one I really love, and this speaks to what we're doing, and it also speaks to a positive light on the municipality of Brighton. Our Brighton Digital Archives Facebook page, content on that showed up 14,500 times on people's Facebook pages. And I think that's just outstanding. Like 14,005 people would be really happy if they placed an ad on Facebook and got that kind of response. So I think that speaks to what we're doing and where we're doing it. The next one is the video list, and thank you, Ralph, for doing that. It's Ralph's list, and we amended it just a little. We have 8 hours and 4 minutes and 30 seconds of original content video. Most of those are Brighton I Remember, and several are were done in support of the municipality of Brighton, including the Canada Day video, the Canada Day promo, the Mrs. Claus and Santa's Christmas message. That was a Brighton Events Committee. We did a Codrington Farmers Market video that I believe played at a Belleville Senators game for Brighton Day. And we also did the municipality of Brighton recognition of the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Holland. So in addition to that, we have Dan Buchanan's History Guy stuff, the Rural Roots Dance Hall Days, and we have Memory Junction, and we have the 1927 video from Presqu'île that David Bree, the naturalist at Presqu'île, lets us use. All really good numbers, I think, and good presentations. And then we are humble, meek, mild people, but we do need to point out that since we started in late 2015, we have recorded 5,249 volunteer hours throughout 15 volunteers. So
pretty good.
I think there's a yippee-i-o-ki-yay moment in there for
Yeah.
us.
Very impressive.
So, Tom, I did send you those reports. Let's share them.
I noted them in the minutes, and I'm going to attach them to the minutes, so they'll
Good.
be for review.
Super.
Great, great. Is there any other business anybody wants to bring forward? I just want to, Mary and Tom, I guess, let you know that I had some feedback that maybe as a committee, we weren't actually paying attention to council rules. And I wanted to assure you that we are, and I got both sets, the ones I had the terms of reference, and then I was sent the advisory committees of council rules. So they tend, from my point of view, to be very general. So, but I just want to assure everybody that we have no desire to go around the rules. If it's being done, it's inadvertent, and so I'll check in more frequently if I have any questions about what is the right way to do it, and let us know too, so we're really moving ahead quickly. It's really very impressive. It's a great committee to be on, I must say. So, Ralph.
One back burner item that is not forgotten, but is not really being dealt with, is the annual open house
Right.
a commitment that we've made, but we haven't really sorted out a virtual alternative this year.
Yes. Are we limited to a time on that? Like it was usually during History Week, wasn't it?
Yeah, which is like February.
Yeah.
So that's
all right.
gone. We're still talking about it.
Yeah.
Just with COVID going on, it's really hard because face to face is the best way to deal with these things, and we just can't do that right now.
Well, would you suggest that maybe we have a Zoom meeting just to, not an official with the official council meeting, but an official committee meeting, but we just sit around and talk about ideas?
If everybody would, for now, go away thinking about what we could do in a virtual way. I know a lot of things have been thrown into under the table for suggestions for doing something, but we should start working towards firming something up. If we're going to do it at all.
Yeah. All right.
And there's money set aside for that. So.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, Mary?
Beth, you talked about the student that wanted to be a part. Did that get settled?
Natalie. Yes, it did. I'm sorry, I could have included that in the agenda. Or was it in the agenda? Natalie Cummings is a student at Loyalist College, and she wanted to volunteer some time with us. The more we looked at it, and as she outlined, she's not doing it as an internship, she's doing it as a volunteer position, and she's been in touch with Catherine. Catherine is going to manage her. So Catherine, do you want to talk about Natalie?
There's not a whole lot more to say. We initially thought that she was doing this as a replacement to get her diploma in journalism. And personally, I wish her well on that pursuit. And it turns out she just wants to be like us. She just wants to be a volunteer because she has a love of Brighton history. She tripped across us, across our site when she was doing a research paper of then and now, and she profiled a house in town. Liked it. She was in touch with Dan Buchanan. Dan sort of pointed her at us, and she's finishing a placement at Trentport in Trenton at the end of April, and then she's just going to join us as just a regular old volunteer. So we welcome her. We think there's great potential there, and she's indicated some areas of interest that we're going to start her out on. So yeah, it's not a formal thing. It's just she's one of us.
Ralph.
And we have another volunteer, speaking of volunteers, I'm not going to mention any names at this point, but someone else has offered their expertise in working on our photos. Just cleaning them up, upsizing them, and making them ready for VITA.
Sounds great.
We're working that arrangement out right now.
Right. Anything else? Any questions about Natalie, Mary? Mary?
No, did Natalie ever get to mention to someone like the Linda Whitfield, our financial director? Because I think we might have to be careful, just the whole workers' comp and all that stuff. I don't know that she would hurt herself in anything she's doing, but Tom, do you think that if she's associated with a committee of council, I'm just a little bit worried that we might have to pass that by Linda. Can you do that? Can you ask that of her anyways?
Can't hear you, Tom.
Tom, you're muted.
Yeah, I can check on that. Yeah, so like, but you guys have other people that sort of help out from time to time, right? Like volunteers for different
Yes.
projects, and it's just kind of like ad hoc
Yeah.
Right.
community people. So
Right.
I don't think it would be any different from that. It's just a matter of, are they going to be a committee member, or are they going to be, like, they're not going to be attending meetings or anything like that?
No,
Is
no.
Is
Just
the
a
question,
volunteer, part of the working group.
is the question whether the insurance becomes an issue with volunteers?
I know what you're saying, Mary. I was thinking along the same line. I'm just kind of like going through in my mind, but I feel like
Well,
we
I don't
have
know what
other
you're
people
saying.
that-
Can you clarify? I don't know why this would be an issue, because I mean, if the town has an activity and people volunteer, do all those people have to be approved?
I think they have to sign waivers. As far as I know.
Yeah, it's the insurance companies that
Right. Okay.
control
All
us in
right.
that area, Beth.
Have we signed
It's not
waivers?
something we want to
Yeah,
do,
have we
but we're
signed
forced to do it.
No, we're insured.
We're insured. Okay. So then we do need to find this out then, because Tom is already on board. Is that his name? Who's the guy that's doing the photoshopping?
The guy we're not naming?
Oh,
We're not naming him.
whoops.
Little bouncing ball there, Beth.
Didn't hear you, Beth.
So that person that is, so we have to get a waiver for him too, or if we ask somebody to put inputting, they have to get a waiver?
I don't know. I mean, this is a guy who's working from his house on his equipment.
Yeah.
What if he falls over something?
Okay, so we really need this clarified for us, because we will reach out to other people to ask help. So if you let us know, then we'll follow the rules.
Okay.
And if we need a
Okay.
waiver, well, we can produce a waiver.
Mhm.
Well, I think if it's going to be a waiver, then the council should, or the finance office should give us that waiver. Then it's
Ready,
legal.
have
Mary,
everybody-
Mary,
Yeah,
Mary?
thank you. Just the other thing that maybe we can do that when we do our strategic plan is, I think we're missing one member now, right? And do you know, Tom, if we, what's our agreement? How many are on this committee
I think it's 7. Isn't it?
normally?
Um,
Is it 7?
I think 6 is the minimum.
Okay.
All
So
right.
we can, Beth, we could even do that now before we finish the meeting. Get Tom to go through, Ben, to advertise, so that if there's people out there that would, like to be on this committee, it would be a good time to do it.
All right.
I think
Wait,
there
just
was
a second.
a
I'm reading
motion.
in terms of, oh, sorry, go ahead, Tom.
I was just gonna say, I think there was a motion a couple meetings ago to wait until after COVID
COVID.
to advertise.
Yes, there was.
I remember something about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing is.
All right, I think that's,
our composition, the committee shall consist of a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 8.
Okay,
So we're within that.
yeah.
But I
You wanted to
agree. I mean,
wait.
it would be nice to do that. Sorry, Mary? Mary?
Well, I think that's up to the committee too, to decide how many over the 4, and do we want 6 or do we want 8?
Mhm.
So that could be all part of the strategic plan. And since we can't do much with the COVID, let's get on with the strategic plan, and then we'll be able to decide how many.
That's
Because you
good.
don't want too many on a committee, because it does get cumbersome.
Mhm.
Okay,
It's great to have
Um,
lots of volunteers.
Volunteers.
well, let's get that cleaned up and clarified, and then we know what to do when we have a volunteer. Who is the head of the Heritage Committee?
Dave Cutler.
Yeah, that's right. I was
He's
trying
my
to think
neighbor,
of
you
his
know
name,
that?
somebody else.
I can approach Dave. I see him every day walking, so. Anything else for this meeting?
Good to see you, Tom.
You too,
Yes,
guys.
good to see you,
Yeah,
Tom.
good to see you.
You still
Next
have
meeting
time,
date,
Tom?
the next meeting date is,
I have May 25th on here.
okay, at 1 p.m. And would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? No, we want to keep meeting? Ralph?
I do it.
Ralph. And Hyacinth can second it. Wonderful, thank you. Tom, can I ask you a question about the adjournment motion? Does it need to be seconded?
If it's moved by a member, it needs to be seconded, but as the chair, you also have the power to just adjourn the meeting. You can just declare it adjourned.
Just to adjourn the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, alrighty. I knew there was something there from previous things. Well, thanks, everybody. Lots to think about, and I
Bye.
look forward to getting some of those issues clarified.